footage shows huge trees on top of crushed vehicles and window panes blown from tall buildings. At least three tornadoes ripped through communities near Chicago Thursday. Police warned residents to take cover in Maryville, Indiana, about 33 miles southeast of Chicago. When it was over, trees and power lines blocked streets. Homes were damaged, and the roof of part of a high school was ripped off. In Streator, Illinois, local TV news shows
Good morning,
a husband
everybody.
and wife
9
in
a.m.
the rubble of their home being rescued by police. The mayor says they're just grateful there have been no reported deaths. I'm Donna Warner.
Forecasters warn of the possibility of more strong to severe storms later today. President Trump raising hopes for a speedy end to the standoff with Iran. Mr. Trump addressing a tele-rally last night saying that a deal with Iran is close at hand.
I don't know if you heard, but we ended the war with Iran today, and they have agreed never to have a nuclear weapon, something that we insisted on. That was the whole purpose. That was 95% of it, and they've done it in the most powerful way you can do it.
Skeptics note the president has made similar remarks before, saying they'll believe it when they see it, and questioning whether Iran can be trusted to honor whatever deal is made. They will not be cutting the ribbon today for the new Gordie Howe International Bridge spanning the Detroit River after all. The Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority says unresolved issues forcing postponement of today's planned ceremony. There's no word yet on when the U.S.-Canada span will.
I wonder when they announced that. Did they announce that like
Now features up 300
this morning?
points. NASDAQ features 180 points higher ahead of this morning's.
Oh yeah, hey, by the way, no Gordie Howe opening today.
When you're vacationing in your RV, there are some things you can always count on.
Go home.
Laying out on a hammock, waking up to birds chirping, and board games with the family.
What? It's not cheating.
Frank, you're scaring the kids.
Oh, come on, guys. We're having fun. It's family time.
With Progressive, your RV is protected 24/7, so you're prepared for whatever you don't see coming.
Technically, it's a loophole.
It's a children's board game. You're a grown man, Frank.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in DC.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Ukrainian forces targeting Russian fuel supplies in the Crimean Peninsula.
Ukraine's attacks on the supplies are triggering the worst fuel crisis on the Black Sea Peninsula since it was illegally annexed by Russia in 2014. The persistent strikes reflect Ukraine's growing ability to carry out drone hits and have caught Russia off guard and struggling for a response. Ukraine's successes have highlighted its ability to inflict painful damage on Russia and change the course of the war. Meanwhile, Ukrainian authorities say Russian drone attacks overnight and into Friday morning have injured at least one person in the southern city of Mykolaiv and sparked a large fire at an infrastructure facility in the Kyiv region. Emergency responders, including specialists in a radiation protection unit, were out of the scene. I'm Charles Dillon.
It's a fresh blow to Moscow's claim that it is winning the 4-year war. News and analysis, townhall.com. White House rolling out a new effort aimed at helping American fishermen and seafood producers.
President Trump is signing a proclamation aimed at expanding opportunities for American fishermen and lowering seafood costs.
So it's my honor to be taking this action to lower seafood costs and generate millions and millions of dollars in new business for our green, really great fishermen, great people, by restoring commercial access to 3 areas of the Western Pacific Ocean. It's a large amount of space we're talking about that they were restricted. Other countries would use it, but our country couldn't use it. Have you ever heard anything so stupid?
Willie Nelson, the White
An
House.
historic day on Wall Street with Elon Musk's SpaceX making its debut on the NASDAQ. And it is the largest initial public offering ever made. More on these stories, townhall.com.
And good morning. I am Joey Driscoll. It's time for headlines, brought to you by Morton Hospital. WVBF News Time is 9:05 a.m. And here is a look at the headlines. The Attleboro Fire Department has partnered with Attleboro High School's Career and Technical Education program to provide students with hands-on training and exposure to careers in firefighting, EMS, and emergency response. The program launched this school year and will continue during the 2026-2027 school year, giving students direct exposure to the realities of firefighting, rescue operations, and emergency response through classroom instruction and live demonstrations conducted by Attleboro firefighters. Students participating in the program receive training and instruction in topics including radio communications, fire behavior, personnel, protective equipment, ropes and knots, structural search techniques, and vehicle extrication, forcible entry, ventilation, and water supply operations. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Attleboro firefighters spend 2 hours working directly with students, providing instruction and mentorship. Crews bring engines, ladder trucks, specialized rescue tools, and vehicles for live extrication training, giving students a rare opportunity to experience the realities of the fire service while still in high school. The fire service curriculum has been integrated into Attleboro's high school criminal justice pathway, CTE pathway. The curriculum has been modified to encompass multiple aspects of public safety, including policing, firefighting, EMS, dispatching, and other public safety professions, expanding career exposure for students interested in emergency services and public safety careers. Captain Adam Maher said the partnership reflects a growing effort to introduce students to meaningful career paths while also helping address the future workforce needs of emergency services. The program builds on a long-standing partnership between the Attleboro Fire Department and the school system. In 2026, firefighters completed their 10th year providing CPR, AED, and Heimlich maneuver training to Attleboro High School freshmen through the department's Heart Safe Schools initiative. Over the past decade, thousands of students have received life-saving training through the program, helping create a generation of young adults capable of recognizing and responding to cardiac emergencies. Now look at our sports. The Carolina Hurricanes are one game away from the Stanley Cup after winning game number 5 of the Stanley Cup final to take a 3-2 series lead. They won last night 4-2 in their home ice rink. They will now travel to Las Vegas for game number 6. That game will get underway on Sunday, June 14th, and that will be at 8 p.m. on ABC. That, again, will be in Las Vegas, Nevada at T-Mobile Arena. And that is game number 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. The Boston Red Sox get underway with a series at home tonight against the Texas Rangers. Boston is looking to get the season on track. The game will get underway at 7:10 p.m. at Fenway Park on NESN and on WEEI as well. The Wareham Gatemen get their Cape Cod 2026 Cape Cod Baseball League campaign underway tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 p.m. They will take on Cotuit, and they will be in Cotuit for that matchup. The Little Spinners will continue their season tonight. They're in Westfield to take on the Westfield Starfires. That game gets underway at 6:30 p.m. Now we'll look at our weather. Outside of our Hong Kong City studios on Broadway in Taunton, it is 79 degrees and cloudy, high of 89 with a low of 69 tonight. Partly cloudy conditions expected throughout the day today. Wind gusts up to 7 miles per hour. The chance of thunderstorms and rain have drastically went down from earlier. And there is still a heat advisory in effect and will be in effect until 8 p.m. this evening. There is also an air quality alert in effect today as well. Clear skies tomorrow, high of 88 with a low of 68. And on Sunday, 35% chance of rain with a high of 85 and a low of 63. And on Monday, a higher chance of rain, a 60% chance of rain, a high of 79 and a low of 62 degrees. WVBF News Time is 9:11 a.m. and Headlines is brought to you by Morton Hospital.
The future is bright at Morton Hospital, now proudly part of Brown University. This change welcomes a new chapter for our community, one where Morton is empowered to truly shine. As a part of Brown University Health, Morton will continue to provide the trusted care you depend on, supported by leading science that lights the way. Still local, now limitless. Morton Hospital is now part of Brown University Health.
Do one more commercial. I'll do 268.
Voices of Our Region is a live, community-centered radio program that explores the rich cultural histories and contributions of the diverse populations that have shaped southeastern Massachusetts. It's hosted by Louie Laura Fridays and airs from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at AM 1530 and 99.7 FM WVBF. Join Louie for some great hometown conversations, stories, and interviews with people about the traditions that continue to define our area. That's Voices of Our Region with Louie Laura from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here on your hometown radio station, WVBF.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests. It's time for Hometown Talk on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station. Our phone lines are now open at 822-1106.
And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hometown Talk. It's the Friday edition of Hometown Talk, 9:13 a.m. here, and I am Joey Driscoll. Open phone lines for the majority of the program today at 10:35 a.m. We got a great guest planned here. She'll be in the studio with us. Her name is Caroline Moran, and we're going to be talking about all things communication, and her communication major journey as well. Communications major journey for her as well. We're going to talk about that with Caroline Moran. That is coming up at 10:35 a.m. this morning. So stay tuned for that. Should be a great interview with her. Again, that's coming up at 10:35 a.m. And the majority of the program today, your phone calls. 508-822-1106. Again, 508-822-1106 number. And let's start off with the weather, because it is very warm. It is very warm. It was warm yesterday. It was in the 90s yesterday, 92 degrees, I think it topped out at yesterday. I think it's be a tad bit cooler today, but it is absolutely warm out there today. Absolutely, as we get into the mid morning, and it's already almost 80 degrees. So let's go over what the weather is going to look like today. The good news is, beginning of the morning wake up news today, I was talking about a potential for thunderstorms to happen today. Doesn't seem like that is going to happen now. That chance has kind of evaporated quite a bit, which is the good news. The bad news is it is still going to be pretty hot today. There is a heat advisory in effect until tonight, 8 p.m., I believe, is when it expires. There's also an air quality alert as well in effect through today. And definitely feel that when it's muggy outside and warm and very hot outside. Definitely can feel that. So I understand why that's in effect as well. It doesn't feel comfortable being outside at all in several different ways. So that's going to be what we're dealing with today. There was a little bit of rain this morning. I came in this morning. I got here at about 6:45 a.m. this morning. And it was on the way to work this morning. There was a little bit of rain. So at least we got a little bit of rain. Not going to cool anything down per se, but at least we got a little bit of rain this morning. But yeah, we have open phone lines for the majority of the program today. 508-822-1106 is the number. 508-822-1106 is the number to call if you want to call in and talk about what's on your mind this morning. For this Friday, June the 12th, and we're going to get into some sports in a little bit. We'll have kind of a breakdown of what, at least one of the games of the World Cup for day one. I watched one of them. I am planning on watching both games today because it is Canada and the United States. So I'm planning on watching both of those games today. I don't know how many games I'll be watching throughout the tournament. Probably not that many, as I've definitely talked about several times here. My interest in the World Cup has drastically gone down due to the press that's been going on with this World Cup, which has not been that great at all. And yesterday's match that I did watch did not help things. That was not a great match. Definitely a mediocre match for sure. Doesn't bode well, I think, in my opinion, for Mexico. Yes, they won the match 2-0, but we'll get into it. We'll get into why I think that match for Mexico wasn't the best match for them in a little bit. They did win, which again, positive, but they definitely struggled to get more goals that they probably should have gotten. So we'll get into that later on during our sports segment. We will also talk about the Cape Cod Baseball League as that gets underway tomorrow as well during our sports segment, so stay tuned for that. We'll have a transportation segment as well. I think we're going to have a music recommendation, or at least a music segment. We're going to at least talk about some music as well on the show as well, along with your phone calls. 508-822-1106 is the number there. We'll also do some local news, local events. We'll get to that as well. And of course, 10:35 a.m., our interview with Caroline Moran as well. That's coming up again, 10:35 a.m. this morning. All right, with it now being 9:19 a.m., let's take our first commercial break, and we will be right back here on WVBF Hometown Talk.
in 10 people age 50 and older in the U.S. have early age-related macular degeneration.
Because macular degeneration often has no early symptoms, many don't know they have it until irreversible vision loss has already occurred. But when I first found out that I had macular degeneration, it was really scary. I mean, my eyes are my living.
What's most important for me to see? My family, my loved ones, my pickleball game. Everything I do is dependent upon my vision.
Being able to see, being able to spend time with my children, be able to travel is extremely important. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have my vision. Don't miss life's most beautiful moments.
Schedule a comprehensive eye exam to protect your sight.
Macular Degeneration Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Go to stopamd.org to learn more.
Alright. A second. 22 minutes in. Okay. Man, it's the sun out here. Sucks. And welcome back to Hometown Talk. It is 9:21 a.m. here. And I want to circle back here to the morning wake up news here for a minute. If you listened before 8 o'clock, we have a segment during just before 8 o'clock news, just a couple minutes before the 8 o'clock news. We do our birthdays of the day. We do our quote of the day, and we do our weird fact of the day. Now, I pick out these interesting facts here for that segment, and this one really was kind of interesting to me. I want to read it again because I think this is kind of interesting. Now, I don't wear ties too much. I think I can count on two hands how many times I've worn a tie in my life. But I did not know anything about this particular fact that I ended up getting here. Got this from the BBC, and this is interesting for sure. I didn't know anything about this prior to seeing it, but wearing a tie can reduce blood flow to the brain by 7.5%. That's not a small percentage. A study in 2018 found that wearing a necktie can reduce the blood flow to your brain by up to 7.5%, which can make you feel dizzy, nauseous, and cause headaches. So if you ever worn a tie and felt a little nauseous or dizzy or anything like that, or if you've had a headache after, especially after taking it off, that's why. That's why it's causing your circulation to be less than it should be. They can also increase the pressure in your eyes if on too tight. Great at carrying germs. So it's very important when you put on a tie, don't put it on too tight. Don't put it on too tight there. But yeah, I can count on both my hands how many times I've worn ties. Doesn't happen that often for me. But now I'll be looking at ties in a little bit of a different light after that. After that interesting fact I found out today. What are your thoughts on? What's your thoughts on that? 508-822-1106 is the number to call. So this weekend is full of events here to mention, and we're going to go through some of them now. Next week, next Monday is Juneteenth. It's next month. Not next Monday. Next Friday. Here we go. Next Friday is June 19th. It's Juneteenth, and there are going to be several Juneteenth celebrations, not only on the day, but the days prior to it. There is going to be a Juneteenth celebration in Bridgewater. That's going to come up on Saturday, the 13th of June. That's tomorrow, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at University Park, which is at Bridgewater State University. It'll be a free community event featuring live music, cultural performances as well, local vendors, food trucks, and an educational workshop, all centered on the history and significance of Juneteenth. And then the other Juneteenth celebration that will be happening on Saturday, the 13th of June, that's going to be happening in Brockton. 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at East Middle School. 464 Center Street, hosted by the African American Association of Brockton. It'll be an amazing day filled with community, culture, and performances. There'll be free food, vendors, backpacks, and much more. Coming up in Middleborough tomorrow, Middleborough Pride. That's coming up tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Town Hall in Middleborough. Back and brighter than ever, Middleborough Pride is returning to bring the fun, food, and fabulousness to our community. Again, that is tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Also coming up this weekend is a major event in Taunton. It is the Taunton River Festival. That's coming up Sunday, June the 14th. Ron, last week, this week actually, I believe, had a guest on. I believe it was yesterday, actually. No, it wasn't yesterday. No, I apologize. It was a Monday, I believe. I apologize. Not yesterday. Monday, Ron had a guest on talking about some of the stuff happening at I believe at the Taunton River Festival. So, a lot going on at this Taunton River Festival. It's a great event that happens every year for the Taunton. For Taunton as well. And that is Sunday, June 14th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Ware Village, Waterfront, Riverfront, Park E. Water Street. And that is vendors, exhibitors, food, boat tours as well, and free educational fun for all. So a great event happening in Taunton on Sunday. So go, if you're in Taunton, go check that out on Sunday afternoon. Will be a great event there. So there you go. There's your weekend events as well. And that's not the only weekend events either. There are several more here to talk about. One that we did mention in our morning wake-up news is the free household hazardous waste drop-off. That is going to take place tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Win Waste Innovations, 110 Prince Henry Drive. That's where you can drop off household hazardous waste for free. And I also have a list of things as well that will be accepted as well. And items to be accepted are as follows: antifreeze, toilet bowl cleaners, herbicides, dry gas, insect pump spray, lead acid batteries, automotive fluids, art and photography supplies, motor oil, flea killers, button batteries, gasoline, rechargeable batteries, car batteries, fluorescent light bulbs, engine degreaser, septic tank cleaner, kerosene, creosote, and disinfectants as well, mothballs, metal polish, DDT, drain cleaners, marine paint. Chemistry sets will be accepted, thermostats, thermometers, oil paint, stains, and wood preservative, and much more. There's much more there as well that will be accepted at this event tomorrow. That's again happening tomorrow from 9 a.m. to noon. at Wind Waste Innovations, 110 Prince Henry Drive. And proof of residency is required. No commercial waste, no box trucks. If you have any questions, call 508-821-1431, and that is the Taunton Department of Public Works. All right, it is 9:30 a.m. Let's take our news break, and we'll be right back. Here on WVB at 15:30 a.m., 99.7 FM. Again, we'll be right back.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mike Thomason. Wall Street futures have been flying high this morning. The stock market encouraged by President Trump's declaration of a pending deal with Iran. The president has said a deal would be done quickly before.
Minutes in now. Nice.
Because they've taken a pounding. They've taken a pounding like very few people could take.
The president talked about the high price of oil and gas because of the
Like
closure
this.
of the Strait of Hormuz.
When oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this.
He believes Iran's supreme leader has signed off on a deal. Ed Donahue, Washington.
And it will be a big weekend for the Trump presidency. Beyond the possible Iran deal, the World Cup returns to the U.S. On Sunday, Mr. Trump's 80th birthday, he will preside over a UFC fight night at the White House.
That's the sixth.
Forecasters are warning of the possibility of more severe weather today across a large swath of the country, and that includes in the hard-hit Midwest.
Twisters have pounded communities near Chicago, leveling homes and ripping down power poles. Storms have also grounded flights and knocked out power for hundreds of thousands across the Midwest and Northeast. A large funnel cloud swept through Merrillville, Illinois, located about 33 miles southeast of Chicago.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart says no
That's June
immediate
6th.
reports of fatalities or life-threatening injuries from those storms. The Trump Kennedy Center Board is mounting a last-minute bid to keep the president's name on the Performing Arts landmark in Washington. The board is seeking a stay of a judge's ruling that Mr. Trump's name must be removed today. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 260 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 10, and the S&P futures are 19 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
9:35.
Healthcare has become frustrating, expensive, and overwhelming. But you can stop playing by those rules. There's a better way. It's called Crowd Health, and it's changing how people pay for healthcare. Crowd Health is a community where members, the crowd, come together to help fund each other's medical expenses. Instead of paying huge monthly insurance premiums, you pay a simple membership fee plus a modest contribution to another member's medical bill. When you get hit with a big bill, the crowd
9:30
steps in
already.
to help you fund it. Plus, you get the support and tools you need to navigate your health event. Why keep overpaying? Cut out the middleman, lower your monthly costs, and avoid the endless billing headaches. Are you ready for a smarter option? Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Right now, you can get started for just $99 per month for your first 3 months when you use code BREAKFREE at joincrowdhealth.com. Crowd Health isn't insurance. Opt out of the flawed system and break free.
The Thai king's eldest daughter has died at the age of 47. She'll be remembered for her prominent role in public life in Thailand.
With the death of Princess Bajulakitiabab, the Thai royal family has lost perhaps its most accomplished member and a figure who might have played an important role in the future royal succession. She was the eldest of King Vajiralongkorn's 7 children and one of the closest to him. Trained as a lawyer, she completed postgraduate studies in the United States, spent some years working in government legal departments in Thailand, and was her country's ambassador to Austria.
That's the BBC's Jonathan Head. Thousands of Puerto Ricans are struggling with water shortages so severe that the governor of the U.S. territory has activated the National Guard, and emergency responders are fielding calls every day. Officials have not publicly pinpointed the cause of the water shortage. News and analysis, townhall.com. An Alabama man facing the death penalty by nitrogen gas has been spared.
The Supreme Court has refused to set aside a lower court ruling that found the nitrogen gas method of execution as unconstitutionally cruel. The justices voted 6-3 against lifting an injunction blocking Alabama from putting to death a 49-year-old man by using nitrogen. 3 conservative justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch, said they would grant Alabama's request to lift the injunction and let the execution go forward. Jeffrey Lee was convicted of killing 2 people while robbing a pawn shop in 1998. I'm Mike Hempen.
Elon Musk is set to become the world's first trillionaire by selling shares in his rocket company SpaceX in what is likely to be the biggest stock debut ever. SpaceX raising $75 billion. More on these stories.
Trillionaire. Jeez.
Hey, restaurant.
What's he gonna do with all that money?
In-house operation, you got it down to a science.
$1 trillion. That's insane.
Devour Now has got you covered. Devour Now has 0% commission, no setup cost, and the delivery solution you've been hoping for. Go to GetDevourNow.com to request a demo and get started today. That's GetDevourNow.com. Commission-free online marketing, ordering, and delivery.
All right. 36. 9:36. And welcome back to Hometown Talk. It is Friday, June 12th, 2026. I am Joey Driscoll. Open phone lines here, 508-822-1106, 508-822-1106 is the number to call. And a couple of more events here to talk about as well. And then we will probably end the hour by talking about some sports. And before the end of the first half hour of the second hour, we'll try to get to some transportation as well, maybe even a music recommendation or a music segment, a music talking about music segment, if we get to it. If not, we can always do that on Sunday or Monday's show as well. But coming up at 10:35 a.m., we will have Caroline Moran joining us in the studio for a great interview. So stay tuned. That's coming up at 10:35 a.m. this morning. Now, continuing on talking about the events happening this weekend, and there are a lot. This is one of the busier weekends here in a little bit. Tonight, there will be a Veterans Memorial March Committee Meat on a Stick fundraiser. That's coming up this evening at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the PACC, 175 School Street in Taunton. There will be raffles, there'll be entertainment there. Bring your own veggies. Ticket prices are $20, includes 1 pound of meat and some sides as well. To purchase tickets for this event, contact Pete Thompson, 508-685-3979. Doug Latham, 508-667-2237. And Cindy Zanghi, 508-285-3140. So, excuse me, there you go. Yeah, that's happening tonight. Tomorrow, another veterans event is happening. Tomorrow, if you're in Middleborough, the 3rd annual Veterans and Family Appreciation Day will take place tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Battis Field, 26 Jackson Street, Middleborough. There'll be a free cookout, games, activities for veterans and their families. Come and see the Middleborough Police Department's new comfort dog, Millie. Middleborough Fire Department will have an engine there as well. Please RSVP via the Veterans Office. You can call 508-946-2407. That's 508-946-2407 as well there. Happening on Saturday as well, tomorrow in Taunton, along with the other great events happening in Taunton this weekend. The Friends of the Public Library at 12 Pleasant Street, they're going to be hosting a monthly book sale. That'll be taking place tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. There'll be books, CDs, DVDs, and jigsaw puzzles available as well. This happens every month. So if you're able to do so, go out and check that out as well. And as we head into this upcoming week and the events as well, there are two big ones. One in Taunton, one in Lakeville. First, we'll start off with Taunton, the Lodge of Elks 150, honoring all those who served. And that is going to be the monthly luncheon for veterans. That is going to be the third Wednesday of each month. The third Wednesday of June is the 17th of June, which is this upcoming Wednesday. Lunch is served at 12 noon. Veterans and currently enlisted military members eat for free. No reservation is needed. We thank you for your sacrifice and your freedoms as long as there are veterans, and Elk will never forget them. Taunton Lodge of Elks 150 at the Miles Standish Industrial Park, 775 John Quincy Adams Road is where this is. In Taunton, 508-824-1500. And you can email meal, MEAL, at tauntonelks.org. And finally, for the events coming up within the next week, there'll be a big one in all of the districts where the Old Colony Vocational High School building project affects. There will be a district-wide election that will be held Saturday, the 20th of June. Please note that Lakeville's polling location, that's been temporarily changed due to scheduling conflicts. Polling location for all precincts. That is the Apsawampset Elementary School Gymnasium, which is at 232 Main Street in Lakeville. Polls will be open at 10 a.m. on Saturday, next Saturday, the 20th. Polls open at 10 a.m., open until 6 p.m. For more information about voter registration, absentee voting, and the specimen ballots, please visit the town clerk's page. And that is at lakevillela.org. That's coming up again next Saturday. That's a big election there as well coming up for next week. So there you go. Also an update on, I believe, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Lakeville had their town meeting on the 8th, and along with Middleborough and Dartmouth, Lakeville has also voted to ban the Bitcoin machines as well, which I was thinking that was going to happen. Again, that was on the Middleborough town meeting. We talked to Alan Frawley about that, and we've been talking about that article for a couple of weeks here. And the Dartmouth also had their town meeting as well, where they had this on their town meeting, and they voted to ban it as well. Lakeville didn't have any Bitcoin machines in Lakeville, but since this has passed, this prevents any Bitcoin machines from being built there in Lakeville at any point. So there you go. I wanted to mention that. I don't know if I mentioned that this week at all. I don't think I did. So that is something also to keep an eye out for in other communities as well. I'm sure that will end up being on the town meeting ballot for other communities in the future, as well as starting to kind of see an acceleration of this. There are other towns in the Commonwealth that have already voted on this before as well, voting to ban it. I've talked about that too. So keep an eye on that if you're in any of the local towns as well. So there we go, 9:45 a.m. Let's take our next commercial break. When we come back, we'll start with our sports, talking about the United Bowl of the UFL, my thoughts on it. A little bit of a surprise as to who the teams are that are in it, but we'll give you an update on what's going on with that here in just a couple of minutes. Let's take our commercial break. We'll be right back.
Matthew Mission Food Pantry helps people
steaming hot.
Insecurities and hardships of life. In a few short years, they have given more than 4,000 bags of groceries to those in need at the north door of the First Parish Church, 76 Church Green, and are available to anyone, no questions asked. The demand increases every week. Please consider a donation of unexpired, non-perishable food items, grocery store gift cards, or a monetary donation via check to the Matthew Mission Food Pantry, 76 Church Green, Taunton, or by Venmo at Matthew Mission Food Pantry. The Matthew Mission
Really gross
is a
in there.
registered 501c3 organization. Thank you.
The Matthew Mission Food Pantry is now open the second and fourth Saturdays of the month at 76 Church Green in Taunton.
I'm gonna play news.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mike Thomason. Wall Street futures have been flying high this morning. The stock market encouraged by President Trump's declaration of a pending deal with Iran.
The president has said a deal would be done quickly before. Why is this different?
Because they've taken a pounding. They've taken a pounding like very few people could take.
The president talked about the high price of oil and gas because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
When oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this.
He believes Iran's supreme leader has signed off on a deal. Ed Donahue, Washington.
And it will be a big weekend for the Trump presidency. Beyond the possible Iran deal, the World Cup returns to the U.S. On Sunday, Mr. Trump's 80th birthday, he will preside over a UFC fight night at the White House. Forecasters are warning of the possibility of more severe weather today across a large swath of the country, and that includes in the hard-hit Midwest.
Twisters have pounded communities near Chicago, leveling homes and ripping down power poles. Storms have also grounded flights and knocked out power for hundreds of thousands across the Midwest and Northeast. A large funnel cloud swept through Merrillville, Illinois, located about 33 miles southeast of Chicago.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart says no immediate reports of fatalities or life-threatening injuries from those storms. The Trump Kennedy Center Board is mounting a last-minute bid to keep the president's name on the performing arts landmark in Washington. The board is seeking a stay of a judge's ruling that Mr. Trump's name must be removed today. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 260 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 10, and the S&P futures are 19 points higher.
I'm back.
More on these stories, townhall.com.
Healthcare has become frustrating, expensive, and overwhelming. But you can stop playing by
Siri.
those rules. There's a better way. It's called Crowd Health, and it's changing how people pay for healthcare. Crowd Health is a community where members, the crowd, come together to help fund each other's medical expenses. Instead of paying huge monthly insurance
Yes, it is.
premiums,
Hong
pay a
Kong
simple membership
City.
fee, plus a modest contribution to another member's medical bill. When you get hit with a big bill, the crowd steps in to help you fund it. Plus, you get the support and tools you need to navigate your health event. Why keep overpaying? Cut out the middleman, lower your monthly costs, and avoid the endless billing headaches. Are you ready for a smarter option?
Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Right now, you can get started for just $99 per month for your first 3 months when you use code BREAKFREE at joincrowdhealth.com. Crowd Health isn't insurance. Opt out of the flawed system and break free.
The Thai king's eldest daughter has died at the age of 47. She'll be remembered for her prominent role in public life in Thailand.
With the death of Princess Bachela the Thai royal family has lost perhaps its most accomplished member and a figure who might have played an important role in the future royal succession. She was the eldest of King Vajiralongkorn's 7 children and one of the closest to him. Trained as a lawyer, she completed postgraduate studies in the United States, spent some years working in government legal departments in Thailand, and was her country's ambassador to Austria.
That's the BBC's Jonathan Head. Thousands of Puerto Ricans are struggling with water shortages so severe that the governor of the U.S. territory has activated the National Guard and emergency responders are fielding calls every day. Officials have not publicly pinpointed the cause of the water shortage. News and analysis, townhall.com. An Alabama man facing the death penalty by nitrogen gas has been spared.
The Supreme Court has refused to set aside a lower court ruling that found the nitrogen gas method of execution as unconstitutionally cruel. The justices voted 6-3 against lifting an injunction blocking Alabama from putting to death a 49-year-old man by using nitrogen. 3 conservative justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch, said they would grant Alabama's request to lift the injunction and let the execution go forward. Jeffrey Lee was convicted of killing 2 people while robbing a pawn shop in 1998. I'm Mike Hempen.
Elon Musk is set to become the world's first trillionaire by selling shares in his rocket company SpaceX in what is likely to be the biggest stock debut ever. SpaceX raising $75 billion. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Don't miss InfoTrack weekends here on WVBF. InfoTrack is a weekly nationally syndicated public affairs radio show that features interviews with experts discussing topics of real interest to you. InfoTrack strives to present impartial, balanced coverage of every story. I'm your host, Chris Whitting, along with a team of talented reporters and legendary announcer, Charlie Van Dyke. InfoTrack Saturday mornings at 8:05 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. Here on WVBF AM 1530 and 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
Right. Great. All right. Good. And we are back as I turn down the bumper music. Here we go. 9:53 a.m. here on Hometown Talk. It is the Friday edition of Hometown Talk. It is Friday, June 12, 2026. A very warm June 12th here in Taunton. It's already in the 80s and it's not even 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's going to be a fun day today. Yesterday was in the 90s. It was, I think, 92 it topped out at. So definitely going to be hot again today. So we're back here. Open phone lines, 508-822-1106 if you want to call in, talk about what's on your mind this morning. Start off with some sports here. We'll do a little bit of UFL and couple of other baseball things. Then at 10:05 a.m., we're going to break down the baseball and softball state title games for each division as well, all 5 divisions of both. So stay tuned for that. We'll have couple of minutes to talk about some music, I think, as well, between now and 10:35 a.m. Caroline Moran will be joining us here in the studio. So stay tuned for that, 10:35 a.m. this morning. All right, the United Football League season has all come down to this. We are one game left in the year, and that is tomorrow, 3 p.m. start. And I don't know about other UFL fans, but does this United Bowl feel a little mediocre? You know, looking at the teams, you got the DC Defenders at 5-5. You got the Louisville Knights at 6-4. Now, I've watched a little bit of the Louisville Knights. They are good, the Louisville Knights. I mean, from what I've seen from the Louisville Knights, I think I would give them the edge in tomorrow afternoon's game, but I don't know enough about these two teams. But, I mean, just looking at the record alone, isn't this game just a little bit mediocre? I mean, I think a lot of UFL fans were looking to see, you know, either St. Louis or another team in there. But that's just not how the cookie crumbled this year for the UFL. But I don't know how many people are going to want to tune into that and watch these two teams. I mean, I think it is a byproduct of the season really only being 10 weeks. So I think as the UFL goes along and starts to kind of expand a little bit, which I think it will in the future, and you might see some more games added to the schedule, I think these kind of games are going to be less likely to happen. These kind of mediocre championship games. I don't think the game itself might end up being mediocre. I think it'll end up being a very good game. It's just looking at the records alone and seeing some of the play from Louisville. I'm not too excited. Really not too excited. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong about it, but I'm not too excited here. I did do a story during the morning wake-up news in our sports section about the Indoor Football League, which happens to be doing pretty well for itself with its streaming deal with Yahoo, which is a big deal, I think, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are starting to really want and are actively looking for NFL alternatives because most of the year, you know, from February all the way to September, pretty much, there's really no football to be had unless you really like watching Canadian Football League as well. That is an option. But there really isn't a lot of football to be had. So that's why, you know, the UFL coming here and also the IFL having its success, I think is very important to the future of football outside of the NFL season every year. I mean, the NFL season this year is going to be big. It is going to be a massive season for sure. It's the first Super Bowl this February coming up. It's the first Super Bowl on ESPN. It's going to be a big Super Bowl, regardless of who's in it, I think, in my opinion. A lot of eyes are going to be on it. So we will see what happens there with that. The NBA Finals is continuing as well. The New York Knicks are one game away from the NBA Finals championship, which I believe they will win. I don't believe they will win it in 5. I do not believe they will win it in San Antonio. I think it would be a great storybook ending for the New York Knicks to win it back at Madison Square Garden in game number 6. We will see what happens there. Also, New York Knicks fans cannot get complacent and say that this series is over. It looks good for the New York Knicks. I will say that much. It does look good for the New York Knicks. But as Kobe has said, Kobe had said this in a post-game interview in one of his NBA Finals games that he was in, one of many, that he's not ready to celebrate. Job's not done. and that's how the Knicks should carry themselves here as well. The job is not done until you've won that fourth game. Crazier things have happened in the NBA Finals, so we'll see what happens there in Game 5. But I believe the Spurs will win Game 5, and then New York will finish the job in game number 6 as well. I think that's how many games the Stanley Cup is going to go as well. I think Carolina will take care of business on Sunday in Vegas, and that will be huge as well for Carolina. That'll be a big deal when they win the Stanley Cup. All right, so it's 10 a.m. I'll be back after the news in just a couple of minutes.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street futures have been flying high this morning. The stock market encouraged by President Trump's declaration of a pending deal with Iran.
The president has said a deal would be done quickly before. Why is this different?
Because they've taken a pounding. They've taken a pounding like very few people could take.
The president talked about the high price of oil and gas because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
When oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this.
He believes Iran's supreme leader has signed off on a deal. Ed Donahue, Washington.
And it will be a big weekend for the Trump presidency. Beyond the possible Iran deal, the World Cup returns to the U.S. On Sunday, Mr. Trump's 80th birthday, he will preside over a UFC fight night at the White House. Forecasters are warning of the possibility of more severe weather today across a large swath of the country, and that includes in the hard-hit Midwest.
Twisters have pounded communities near Chicago, leveling homes and ripping down power poles. Storms have also grounded flights and knocked out power for hundreds of thousands across the Midwest and Northeast. A large funnel cloud swept through Merrillville, Illinois, located about 33 miles southeast of Chicago.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart says no immediate reports of fatalities or life-threatening injuries from those storms. The Trump Kennedy Center Board is mounting a last-minute bid to keep the president's name on the performing arts landmark in Washington. The board is seeking a stay of a judge's ruling that Mr. Trump's name must be removed today. And on Wall Street, the Dow futures are up 260 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 10, and the S&P futures are 19 points higher. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Healthcare has become frustrating, expensive, and overwhelming. But you can stop playing by those rules. There's a better way. It's called Crowd Health, and it's changing how people pay for healthcare. Crowd Health is a community where members, the crowd, come together to help fund each other's medical expenses. Instead of paying huge monthly insurance premiums, you pay a simple membership fee plus a modest contribution to another member's medical bill. When you get hit with a big bill, the crowd steps in to help you fund it. Plus, you get the support and tools you need to navigate your health event. Why keep overpaying? Cut out the middleman, lower your monthly costs, and avoid the endless billing headaches. Are you ready for a smarter option? Go to joincrowdhealth.com. Right now, you can get started for just $99 per month for your first 3 months when you use code BREAKFREE at joincrowdhealth.com. Crowd Health isn't insurance. Opt out of the flawed system and break free.
The Thai king's eldest daughter has died at the age of 47. She'll be remembered for her prominent role in public life in Thailand.
With the death of Princess Bajulakitiabab, the Thai royal family has lost perhaps its most accomplished member and a figure who might have played an important role in the future royal succession. She was the eldest of King Vajiralongkorn's 7 children and one of the closest to him. Trained as a lawyer, she completed postgraduate studies in the United States, spent some years working in government legal departments in Thailand, and was her country's ambassador to Austria.
That's the BBC's Jonathan Head. Thousands of Puerto Ricans are struggling with water shortages so severe that the governor of the U.S. territory has activated the National Guard and emergency responders are fielding calls every day. Officials have not publicly pinpointed the cause of the water shortage. News and analysis, townhall.com. An Alabama man facing the death penalty by nitrogen gas has been spared.
The Supreme Court has refused to set aside a lower court ruling that found the nitrogen gas method of execution as unconstitutionally cruel. The justices voted 6-3 against lifting an injunction blocking Alabama from putting to death a 49-year-old man by using nitrogen. 3 conservative justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch, said they would grant Alabama's request to lift the injunction and let the execution go forward. Jeffrey Lee was convicted of killing 2 people while robbing a pawn shop in 1998. I'm Mike Hempen.
Elon Musk is set to become the world's first trillionaire by selling shares in his rocket company SpaceX in what is likely to be the biggest stock debut ever. SpaceX raising $75 billion. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Commercial.
WVBF is your hometown radio station. And one of the things we like to do to support people in your hometown is to run community announcements. If you belong to a nonprofit group or organization, or if you're an official with a city or town government, send your community announcements along to our email address. It's safe, it's fast, and it allows us to get right back to you if we have a question. Send your community announcements to WVBF1530@hotmail.com. That's WVBF1530@hotmail.com. Thank you for listening. Your hometown radio station is AM 1530, WVBF, and 99.7 FM.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
It's time for Hometown Talk on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station. Our phone lines are now open at 508-822-1106.
And welcome back. It's hour number 2 of Hometown Talk. And we're going to start off the hour by continuing with our sports. We're going to do a couple of minutes here of World Cup. Then the MIAA baseball and softball championships for all 5 divisions are set. We're going to go over those as well. So stay tuned. That second half of the hour will be an interview with Caroline Moran. That's coming up at 10:35 a.m. So stay tuned for that. Your phone calls between now and then. 508-822-1106 is the number to call. You want to call in, talk about what's on your mind this morning. On this beautiful but hot morning here on a Friday. All right. World Cup. Now, World Cup Day 1 is now in the past, and it was an all right Day 1, I suppose. I think a lot of rust was being shaken off by some teams, especially Mexico. Now, Mexico did win, so, at least they get the win here. So I can't really argue with that result. But it felt like they should have won by 5 or 6 goals. They won by 2 goals. They left a lot of goals out there and kind of let South Africa off the hook in some aspects. Now, South Africa didn't play well at all. from minute one of the game. It just did not go well for South Africa. There was some early shots for them, some early chances within the first couple of minutes of the game, and the rest of the game it was practically nothing. And then the red cards came for South Africa. They were down a man. Then they were down 2 men. And things got bad for South Africa, but they didn't get that bad. They were down 2 guys for quite a few minutes there, and Mexico was only able to score 1 goal with a man advantage, which is pretty ridiculous, in my opinion, that South Africa was able to hold on like that. I thought this should be 4-0 right now, 5-0 right now, but it ended up being 2-0. So that concerns me a little bit if you're Mexico. That result, I mean, it's a win, but it would concern you a little bit because you didn't get some of the goals that were practically handed to you, honestly, on a silver platter. Because South Africa did not play well in the majority of that game. And it only being 2-0 is a little bit of a letdown, I think, for Mexico. So they really need to bounce back in game number 2. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, does this game matter to Mexico? No, they're probably going to get out of the group stage anyway. But it's got to raise a couple of alarm bells that they had left some offense there on the soccer field there for Mexico, because South Africa did not play well. For all intents and purposes, South Africa gave up in the second half. So it was pretty bad for them in the second half. So it was bad. So the second game, South Africa in the second game. I mean, South Korea there in the second game. How are you? My guest is here for the 10:35 segment. The second game, South Korea and Czechia. I did not watch it. Yes. South Korea and Czechia. I did not watch it. It was an interesting game. So apparently, late in the game, South Korea picked up a goal and won the game 2-1. I gotta go back and watch this game because it was close the entire time. This was probably a game that was much better than the first one. I'll tell you that right now. Both games took place in Mexico for day one, which is great. The crowds there in Mexico are very, very good, especially there in the Mexico match. They kind of let Mexico have it a little bit at times during that Mexico match because, again, as I mentioned, Mexico won, but they didn't have their best stuff. But a good game for South Korea over Czechia there. Let's go to the phone lines and say good morning, caller.
Hey, just Cody, this is Tom in Brockton.
Yes.
The reason why I'm calling doesn't have anything to do with soccer.
No problem.
I have to deal with the mayor of Brockton. And, you know, he's been under the spotlight for allegedly molesting a little girl. And it is just, it's a fabricated story. And it all started with the mother being a drama queen at the graduation.
I did hear about that.
Okay, so and there has been a restraining order or something filed against the mayor, and I see this as an orchestrated campaign coming from progressives that don't like part of his agenda, and part of his agenda is to clean up downtown Brockton and get rid of the homeless people. And the reason why he wants to get rid of them, and he's going to do it in a humane fashion, that, look, if you're homeless, Brockton is 70% capacity for the shelters. we can put you in a shelter, but you have to obey their rules. And there's a lot of young white people that aren't from Brockton that have come here from Abington and Rockland that are strung out on opioids or whatever that don't want to go by the rules of the shelter. And that upsets progressives when you're going to enforce vagrancy laws. So somehow the mayor at one point with some girl that was in a marching band for the United States Navy, he's a Navy veteran. And evidently in the process of this girl marching down the street, and I believe the girl is also of Cape Verdean descent, I could be mistaken, but he put his arm around her in a sign of affection that, wow, you're part of the Navy, I was in the Navy. And that got stretched into, my God, you molested my daughter. And like I see what's going on social media, it's a character assassination of him to remove him from office. And he's not going anywhere. And I will tell you one thing. I'm a retired union electrician. I'm on year number 8. The man has never done any personal favors for me. I've never asked any favors of the guy, as well as the fact I don't work for the city of Brockton. So there's no skin in the game for me. I'm not some stooge that held a campaign sign for the mayor expecting a job. I'm just a citizen who sees a smear tactic for a very good man that's going on. And you had a caller that called in on Wednesday. I won't mention his name, but he was like, I don't really know, what's going on. Well, I'm telling him what's going on over the airwaves.
Okay.
It's a smear campaign.
Well, I don't know too much about it. I'm not a Middleborough resident. I'm not a Brockton resident. I apologize. Not a Brockton resident. I would absolutely get call in to Stand Up Strong on Sunday and get their opinion.
Absolutely, I'm very familiar with Reverend or Bishop Tony Branch. Absolutely.
So absolutely, I will keep an eye on this story as well. I did have a story about this in the Morning Wake Up News this morning. So WVBF is keeping an eye on this story for sure, very, very closely. But I would definitely call in to Stand Up Strong on Sunday at noon to get their opinion on it as well, as they are Brockton residents.
Okay, thank you for letting me share my views. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it, Joey.
No problem.
And just a little history about myself.
Yes.
When I started playing soccer in the town of Foxborough, 1972, I was 12 years old. Our first match that we played back then was against Fall River. And I remember our coach, his name was Hans Stather. He was actually from Germany. His son, Johnny Stather, was on our team, a very, very good athlete. And Mr. Stather told us, guys, when we go to Fall River tomorrow, you all have to have clean uniforms. He said, these kids are Portuguese. This is their game. And if we're going to lose, we're going to lose in style. Well, lo and behold, we actually won the game, 1-0. And I was the goaltender. And I think I might have had 2 saves in that game, but here's the point. After the game was done, the parents of those kids all stood up and applauded us. And like I said, soccer was new to us in Foxborough at that time. And I was just very impressed with how the parents handled themselves back then as compared to the way parents handle themselves now in Massachusetts at sporting events for young people.
Yes, absolutely. I've heard quite a few stories about that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, FIFA World Cup, the crowds, they're great crowds, and they can be unforgiving as well when the team doesn't do well. Mexico kind of learned that yesterday. No, they didn't do horrible. Mexico, as I mentioned here, they didn't do horrible, but they left some goals out there, and some fans, they'll call you out on that for sure, because they were facing a team in South Africa that pretty much all intents and purposes gave up in the second half. So FIFA World Cup, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens today. I'm just going to be talking about the U.S. and Canada matches coming up today as well. But thank you, Tom, for calling in today.
All right, take care.
Yep, bye. That was Tom giving us a call. Here for a couple minutes to talk about some soccer and also a little bit about what's going on in Brockton. Yes, there is some pretty serious stuff going on in Brockton. I would tune in to Stand Up Strong on Sunday at noon with Bishop Tony Branch and Ed Miller. You'll definitely hear more about what's happening there in Brockton with the mayor of Brockton. There, I won't comment on it as I am not a Brockton resident. Finishing up here with the sports. As I mentioned, I'm going to quickly talk about the World Cup matches for today. There's two. Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina will start the proceedings today. It's going to be on Fox and Peacock. Canada is a pretty good team. I don't know too much about Bosnia and Herzegovina, too much about their team. 3 p.m. start on Fox and Peacock. And then everyone is excited about this matchup. Again, I don't know too much about the U.S. team. Know a couple of teams. I believe Pacific, is one of the names on the team. Other than that, I don't know much about the national team at all. I know nothing about the Paraguay team either. So that should be an interesting match to follow and watch. That will be at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. 9 p.m. start on Fox and on Peacock as well. So we have that. Finally, the MIAA softball and baseball Division I state tournament will be coming up. And we are going to talk about that. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back here right after this. Hi, Caroline.
Hi.
Take a seat. Green mic. So yeah, we'll start at 10:35.
Great.
Glad you reached out.
Me too. I'm excited.
Here is my stuff. Okay.
Hi, this is Paul Lads inviting
So
you to
we'll
join
start
me
off
Thursday
by
morning
just
from
asking
9
you a
to
little bit
11
about yourself.
WVBF AM and FM for Cranberry
Start off with
Country
that, and then
Journal.
we'll get into
Still bringing you a slice of life of the people, places, and activities and events to make the Cranberry Country area a special place to call home. Join me Thursday morning, 9 to 11, Cranberry Country Journal on WVBF.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, and we're back. 10:22, and a couple minutes here before the 10:30 news break. Caroline is here, so we'll have her on coming up in just a couple of minutes. Laura is here as well for Voices of Our Region with Laura. That's coming up at 11, so stay tuned for that. Always like finding out what he has going on that show. Had a great show last week, and I'm sure this week will be just as good as well. Now, the MIAA softball and baseball tournaments are in the final, and we're going to go over all the divisions, all 5 of each, and kind of break it down for you of what I know here. So we'll start off with MIAA Softball Division I State Tournament. This is no surprise if you are a Taunton softball watcher over the past several years here. Taunton did it again. Taunton was taking on Attleboro, and that should be a good one. Tomorrow night, 5 p.m. at Worcester State University. Again, Taunton, I don't know how many finals they've been to at this point. That's a lot. They've been to so many state tournament finals. They are a very, very good team. It just seems like every year that they graduate students, new ones come in and they're just as good. So Taunton is very, very good here this year once again. So we'll see what happens in that one. MIAA softball Division II state tournament is going to be the final. King Philip Regional taking on Somerset Berkeley. That is a huge one for our area. That's tomorrow at Worcester State University. That's at 2:30 p.m. start for that one. Apponequet is in 2 matches, 2 state finals. MIAA softball Division III state tournament. Apponequet is taking on Case. That should be a fun matchup. That is tonight, actually this afternoon, 4 p.m. start. That's at Worcester State University. Division number 4 state tournament. Heard of Kingsborough? I don't think I've ever heard of Advanced Math and Science Academy Charter. I'm not sure where that is out of. Kingsborough, though, will take them on, and that is going to be tonight at 6:30 p.m. That's the other game in the doubleheader for tonight. That's Worcester State University. That's Division 4. Finally, Division 5. Maynard takes on Hopedale, and Hopedale has been in state finals before. I remember going back to 2013. Middleborough took on Hopedale in the state championship for baseball. So Hopedale has experience in state finals. So this should be a big one for Hopedale. That's Division 5 for MIAA softball. Now we get to the baseball. Now we get to the fun stuff. Division 1. Catholic Memorial takes on Bishop Fian in the state tournament for Division number 1. That is going to be happening tomorrow at 6 p.m. That's at Polar Park. That's where the Worcester Red Sox play. Beautiful ballpark, by the way. That is definitely a game. That's definitely a ballpark I want to go and see myself in person, because that is a great ballpark. They did a good job in Polar Park. MIAA baseball Division 2 state tournament. King Philip takes on Milton. That's tonight, 7 p.m. at Polar Park. MIAA baseball Division number 3 state tournament. Apponequet will take on Middleborough, my hometown. Let's go, Middleborough. This should be a good one. Middleborough is great. Apponequet is great. Those two teams kind of have this budding rivalry in football. Maybe this starts some sort of rivalry between them and baseball as well. It's going to be a pretty big one. That is tomorrow at 3 p.m. at Polar Park. Division 4 state tournament. Hamilton Wenham Regional takes on Seacock. That's going to be at Polar Park tomorrow at noon. And then finally, Boston English takes on Georgetown. And that is going to be Division 5, and that is today at 4 p.m. start. That's at Polar Park as well. So the ones I'm obviously going to be watching are Middleborough versus Apponequet. That's going to be a big one. I'll be keeping an eye on the Taunton matchup as well. And it's a big surprise there for baseball for Boston English to be in the state tournament as well. This is usually teams that you hear quite a bit about. Boston English and Boston Latin, you hear those two teams whenever you get Thanksgiving matchups as well. So it's good to hear that Boston English is in a state title for baseball. So that should be fun for them as well. So there you go. Hope everyone enjoyed that segment of sports there. 10:29. We're going to take our news break. When we come back, we'll have Caroline Moran joining us, and stay tuned for that interview as well. And coming up at 11 will be Louis Laura with Voices of Our Region. He's here, so stay tuned for that. That's coming up in just about a half hour from now as well. We will be right back. That up. There. So was there any thing that you wanted to talk about that I didn't add as one of the questions, or do you think I
No, I thought those were good questions.
Okay,
I
awesome.
mean, if anything else comes up, I guess I could just shout it out. But
Awesome. All right.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Collison. On the brink of another U.S. attack on Iran last evening, President Trump called it off, announcing instead a breakthrough in talks with the Islamic Republic.
Oh, so I'm doing a YouTube live. So this interview will be available on YouTube after. It's going to be Hometown Talk, Joey Driscoll's Hometown Talk. That's the YouTube channel, and it will be the Hometown Talk from today.
The Strait of Hormuz could reopen to shipping as daily as Saturday.
So it'll be on
Senate Vice President J.D. Vance would probably be signing the deal in Europe over the next few days. This week has seen tit-for-tat strikes between Iran and U.S. forces following the downing of an American helicopter on Monday. Iran has said although the majority of an agreement has been finalized, it's not yet reached a final conclusion on the deal. Tehran again accusing the U.S. of making excessive demands and adding new requests to the last moment.
A key surveillance tool allowing the U.S. to collect intelligence abroad expires later today. The House and the Senate failing to temporarily extend the FISA program, which runs out at midnight. President Trump nominating Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, serve as Director of National Intelligence. Powerful storms once again battered parts of the Midwest. At least 3 tornadoes touching down in communities near Chicago, destroying homes, uprooting trees, and bringing down power lines. Storms have also grounded flights and knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of utility customers across the Midwest, parts of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Forecasters warn that more severe weather could hit some of those same areas later today.
It's brutal in here.
On Wall Street, the
I've been
Dow
here
was up
since
119
6:45,
points,
so
Nasdaq down
it is brutal.
89 points. More of these stories at townhall.com.
There's a moment nobody talks about with weight loss. It's the moment it stops working. The diet that worked before doesn't. Eating less stops moving the scale. That's not random. When your body's under stress, it slows your metabolism. That's why quick fixes eventually fail. At PhD Weight Loss, they focus on restoring your metabolism. And right now, when you call and mention Mike G, you'll get 2 free weeks and they'll pay for the cost of your food. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com.
1812, America won its religious freedom. Now that constitutional right has been attacked from inside our own government.
We all of a sudden became the enemy. I got 6 months of house arrest, 5 years probation. I'm sorry, our rights have been suspended?
Don't miss the powerful new documentary by Dawn's Early Light, how President Trump's task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias exposed the truth, by Dawn's Early Light. For a limited time, watch it free at ByDawnsEarlyLightFilm.com. ByDawnsEarlyLightFilm.com.
A former South Korean president has been given a lengthy prison term for launching drone flights over the North Korean capital.
South Korea's ousted President Yoon Suk-yeol and his former defense minister have been sentenced to.
They have had a very alarming percentage of presidents arrested or assassinated in their history. South Korea is a mess. That's all I'll say about that. They are a mess.
Over his short-lived imposition of martial law in December 2024, North Korea had accused Seoul of flying drones over Pyongyang to drop propaganda 3 times in October 2024. I'm Charles Durkan.
Officials in the Philippines say years of disaster preparedness drills really helped to pay off, preventing a larger death toll when one of the strongest earthquakes in 50 years struck, leaving 55 people dead. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Texas Attorney General's office has notified the Big 12 of potential legal action from Texas Tech.
This follows a court order allowing quarterback Brendan Sorsby to regain NCAA eligibility despite gambling on sports. The Big 12's executive board met Thursday to discuss options after a Texas court issued a temporary injunction Monday that prevents the NCAA from enforcing its ban on Sorsby. He had been ruled ineligible after betting on his own team while in Indiana. Big 12 Commissioner Brent Yormark says the board will meet Monday to decide on a course of action. Keith Peters reporting.
Not like
It is
he
a
played
history-making day on Wall Street
in
with
Indiana.
Elon Musk's
I don't
SpaceX
even know
making
when
its
it was in
debut on the NASDAQ exchange. It is the largest initial public offering ever. Price of a share of SpaceX stock, $135. More on these stories.
I mean,
Townhall.com.
what else are you gonna do? You're sitting on the bench for 12 weeks because I guess he was the backup. If he was in Indiana, he was the backup.
And one of the things we like to do to support people
Okay, coming back in 1 minute.
is to run community announcements. If you do belong to a nonprofit group or organization, or if you're an official with a city or town government, send your community announcements along to our email address. It's safe, it's fast, and it allows us to get right back to you if we have a question.
Green light. That up.
Send your community announcements to WDBF1530@hotmail.com. That's WDBF1530@hotmail.com. Thank you for listening. Your hometown radio station is AM 1530, WVBF, and 99.7 FM.
And welcome back, everybody. It is 10:36 a.m. here. It is June 12th, 2026. I am Joey Driscoll, and joining me is Caroline Moran. Good morning, Caroline.
Good morning.
So we're just going to start right off here and say, introduce yourself to everybody and just a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name is Caroline Moran. I'm from Braintree. I am a 2025 graduate of St. Anselm College. I studied communications there. And currently, I am working at an elementary school in Braintree.
All right, so we'll start off with question number one right off the bat here. What got you interested in a career in communications and in media? You know, when it comes to radio, if you did any radio at St. Anselm. I know nothing about what they have for. Well, we'll ask you about what they have for communications in a little bit. But what got you interested in a career in either the radio or also television as well?
Sure. I guess sort of started in high school. The summer going into my senior year, I was thinking about broadcast and journalism. Because junior year, I kind of started to become a stronger writer. But I would say it really started when I was in college. I actually didn't even know I was a communication major until the end of my first semester because I thought I went in undeclared, but then they set me straight and I went with it. But my interest really started when I started writing for our school newspaper. That's it.
So I do have a question about that. What is it like to write for a college newspaper? Now, I have a couple of copies. My mom went to Bridgewater State University, and I have a couple of copies of their newspaper as well. This is from like 2005, and I've read them on the air. I've read some of the articles on the air. There's a lot that goes into that. So what is it like writing for a college newspaper? And I believe you're also the main person there, the head of the newspaper. How was that like as well?
I missed the paper. I had a lot of fun writing for the Crier. I started off just as a reporter, and they gave me some easier articles to write when I first started. But as my time progressed, I got into more leadership roles. I was managing editor at one point. Then when I was finishing there, I was the news editor. And it was definitely a lot of work. Once you're an editor and you're more involved in the editorial board, your responsibilities definitely increase. You have to be at meetings. You have to have story ideas. You have to make sure all your writers are making their timelines, and you're responsible for filling up the space in your section, really. So a lot of requirements to me, and it was challenging at times, but I had a lot of fun being like on the inside of things, if that makes sense. Like, having more insider information, I guess, about the college and what happened there. But I liked being able to come up with the story ideas and determine what I felt was important enough to put in the paper.
So about some of the events that you covered, what are some of the big news stories that you covered for St. Anselm that's going to stick with you as well? What are some big events that have happened at St. Anselm during your time?
Right. So we have the New Hampshire Institute of Politics at St. Anselm. So a lot of politicians and conventions were held at the college. But during my senior year, biggest event was the 2024 presidential election. We had a live newsroom that night when votes were being counted. So all of the editors were in the newsroom and we were doing live reporting. And I wrote the article about the election results. So that was probably the biggest one. I really also liked the layout we did on the front page for that article. It got a lot of circulation and readership, and that was a lot of fun. We also had the papal conclave when they chose the Pope. That was a huge deal just because St. Anselm is a Catholic college, so a lot of hoopla there. I met a politician. Well, I think she was going to run, Marianne Williamson.
I believe she ran in 24. I don't know if anyone knows if she ran in 24.
She didn't make it terribly far, but I did
No.
get to meet her and interview her, and that was a lot of fun. Never got to meet anyone super important like that before, so that was a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Those are more national news that I got to report on, but local news that was important to the campus. I like to interview students who did cool things in their free time, so that was a lot of fun that I like to do those kinds of things as well.
So, talked about a lot of sports here in this hour. But switching to the sports aspect of things, St. Anselm. Well, what's that like to write about sporting events for St. Anselm, and what are some things that may have happened that were pretty big in that world of St. Anselm?
I'm not gonna lie. I have to be honest. I don't follow sports that much. Just not my thing. But one of the biggest events was, I want to say it was the softball team, or no, it was field hockey. They won a national title, and that was huge for the college. And they were talking about that for like a whole year. It was that big for them. I definitely follow the girls' teams a little closer than I do the men's teams, but they actually just dropped a division. I think they were D2 and now they're D3. A lot of people are a little up in arms about that, a lot of controversy, but there was valid reasoning behind it. But I was also more into like the club teams because I knew people that played on those teams. So I like to report on that too sometimes.
Switching back real quick, I forgot to mention one of the first towns that is a town that gets their election results counted is New Hampshire. It's in New Hampshire. So New Hampshire is a pretty big state when it comes to politics. As you know, it's the first big, one of the first big, I believe, primaries as well. So when it comes to that, very big stuff there, and a lot of politicians focus on New Hampshire. So that is not a surprise that you've been writing about that as well. So when it comes to communications, what are some names that you have listened to in the past, either on radio or television, that you've kind of, also kind of interested you into getting into the communications?
I love Carson and Kennedy on Mix 104.1. Don't know if you listen to them.
I listened to them a little bit.
When I was in like middle school, when my mom would drive me to school, we would listen to Can't Beat Kennedy on the way there. Got me into them when I was 12, I want to say. But I just like their dynamic. You could tell they're good friends. They have a good banter. They riff off of each other. And I like listening to people who are funny with other people. So I like to listen to them. TV, I'm not going to lie. I watch the morning news with my mom, Boston 25. Gene Levanti and Cheery Spear. Can't go wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
I do miss Kevin Lemanowitz. He's not on anymore. He retired. And I also watch Jon Stewart.
Okay.
If you're familiar with him.
I
Very
am.
funny guy. I like the funny people.
Yes. So I'll say some of my favorites. Dan Ray from WBZ, a big favorite of mine. I met him quite a few years back. Big fan of Dan Ray. Another big fan of Chachi LaPrette with Breakfast with the Beatles. I have had him on many times. I don't know. I can't count how many times I've had him on here on either a Hometown Talk or a Middleborough Review or Middleborough Matters, 3 shows that I have here on WVBF. I've had him on so many times as well. And there are other names as well. Of course, Fox 25 I've watched many times as well. WBZ with their people in there as well. I used to be a lot into weather meteorology, so a lot of Eric Fisher. I would watch him quite a bit. So yeah, that's some of my names there as well. So we talked about that. So going back to St. Anne's, what do they have when it comes to communications? Do they have a radio station? Do they have a television station? What does St. Anselm have in the communications program that made you interested in going to St. Anselm?
They used to have a broadcasting club, St. Anselm Broadcasting Club, but that stopped in 2020, probably due to COVID, but I was a freshman in 2021, so by the time I got there, they didn't have it. They used to have an FM radio station, WSAC, like 1971 to 1980. And then eventually after that, they had a radio club, the Radio Flyers, but they didn't have that when I was at St. A's. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to participate, but they did have the paper. So that was pretty much the only thing.
So, yeah. So another thing that you mentioned as well to me, that you were an orientation leader with the college for St. Anselm as well. I'll just mention my high school, Middleborough High School, does a really good job with orientation as well. They have a whole thing where they set up for the media. I was part of TV Pro. They set up for the media. They make a video for the orientation for the new freshmen as well. And that one, they do a really good job. They hit on all the bases as well. Does St. Anselm do something similar to that? Or what does St. Anselm do when it comes to their orientation for the new freshmen who might be coming into St. Anselm?
Yes, St. Anselm is very serious about their orientation program. It is a huge commitment if you want to be an orientation leader. I had a great experience as a freshman in orientation. That's what made me want to be an orientation leader. But it's kind of cutthroat. It took a lot. Like if you wanted to be an orientation leader, you had to really impress them to get an interview for it. But it's a lot of training, getting to know other orientation leaders. We hosted a lot of programs in the summer, a lot of overnight programs for incoming students. And that would include like registration information for classes, touring the campus to look at dorms, getting to know other students in icebreakers and stuff. And then when they move in, for 3 days, it's only athletes, freshmen, and orientation leaders on campus. And those 3 days are all day orientation activities. We had days of service, we had icebreakers, all that good stuff. But it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of work, but it was worth it. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we got one more question for Caroline Moran, plus a little bit about your minor as well. You added stuff about your minor. I want to ask a question about that too, and we'll have all of that when we come back here on WBBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. We'll be right back. Hometown Talk.
Hey, restaurant, when it comes to great food and in-house operations, you got it down to a science. But when it comes to online marketing, ordering, and delivery, Devour Now has got you covered. Devour Now has 0% commission, no setup costs, and the delivery solution you've been hoping for. Go to getdevournow.com to request a demo and to get started today. That's getdevournow.com. Commission-free online marketing, ordering, and delivery.
All right, we're back. 10:49 a.m. here. If you have a question for Caroline Moran, give us a call. 508-822-1106. We've got about 10 minutes left in the program. So if you have a question, give us a call. 508-822-1106 is the number. So going to your minor now. Now, what is some of the things that made you want to pick the minor that you had? And what do you hope to accomplish with your minor, going forward in your career?
Yes, so I minored in French, and I had no intention of minoring in anything. Well, at least not in French when I got there. I wasn't even really good at it until the last month of high school, so it was kind of a waste. But we were required to take a language, either 3 semesters of a language or into a certain level. And I tested into the highest required level. But my professor recommended that I continue my studies, and I had no backbone at that point, so I just said okay. And then I minored in French. What am I hoping to accomplish with it? I would like to go to France, if I'm being honest. But I would like to be able to write about it, I guess. When you take a language, you obviously are learning the language and become more proficient or advanced in it, but you also learn a lot about the culture and just makes your world a little bit bigger. And the things that I was able to do with the language, I never would have dreamed of doing when I was younger in high school. So I guess my goal is to just be able to use it again, and I hope that it comes up for me to be able to do that.
It's a funny story for me when it comes to languages. In high school, I took pretty much what everyone takes, Spanish. I really wanted to take Russian though. But my guidance counselor was like, no, don't. Take the Spanish. So I was like, all right, fine. And I took Spanish. I did all right on it, I got I think a C or something like that, or B, something like that. I don't remember. But I was like, I really wanted to take Russian. So that was a little funny thing there for me. Oh, we got a phone call. Let's take that phone call and say good morning, caller.
Good morning. I have a question for Caroline.
Yes, go ahead.
What would her dream job be now that she's out of school and she's got this communication major and French minor?
What a great question. My dream job, if I could choose anything, I would love to be a music journalist because music is my biggest interest. And if I could talk about it or write about it all day, every day, forever, I would do that. That would be my dream.
Amazing. Well, good luck to you in that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, caller. Yes, I could have a 2-hour program just on music, and we wouldn't have even scratched the surface. I am a huge fan of music as well. I've talked about so many bands that I'm a huge fan of. Just recently, last week, talked about Rush and their comeback and their tour. It's so good so far. I talked about their first show. They sounded really good. They sounded really good, Caroline. Rush is back. New drummer. Sad, because of Neil Peart's passing, but they did such a good job with picking the drummer. I think she's really, really good. And just hearing them again live and just back as a band is really, really cool. I've talked about so many different bands as well and many of my shows. I talk about Deep Purple. I talk about Black Sabbath. Huge fan of Sabbath. Huge fan of Iron Maiden. I could go on and on with bands I'm a fan of. Wasp, Dokken. This is just all rock music bands I'm all a fan of off the top of my head. The Beatles, of course, with the Breakfast with the Beatles, Joshua Pratt. Talk with him all the time about the Beatles as well. Huge fan of the Beatles. But your music. Let's ask a question about that. What is your some of your music favorites?
Oh, where do I start? I'll start with the obvious, the Beatles. Can't go wrong. Started listening to them in 7th grade. Changed my life forever. Lately, I've been really into Stone Temple Pilots.
Huge fan.
Huge fan of Plush. It's my go-to song. It's going triple platinum in my car lately.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like The Band? You heard of The Band?
The Band, I've heard of them. Yes.
Oh, those are them and the Beatles probably tied for first. Depends on the day, depends what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also like rock of various decades. I'm into the rock scene.
Yeah, with Stone Temple Pilots, they had an album. I think this was before Scott Weiland passed, I believe. But they had Chester Benningfield as their lead singer for an album. And I'm forgetting the name of the album off the top of my head. I gotta look at their discography. But he was really, really good in the Stone Temple Pilots. It's really interesting that they had him come in and do an album for them. And that album, that was called, I believe, let's see, okay. I believe it was just called Stone Temple Pilots, if I remember correctly. It was just self-titled. Yeah, I believe Chester Bennington was in this band. So that's pretty huge for that to happen, because Chester Bennington's great, and Linkin Park, by the way, with their new singer. It's weird to hear when you have a new singer coming for a band that has had one singer for 5, 10 plus years. It's a little weird, but she has done a very, very good job in Linkin Park. So I think that is a very big deal here. But yeah, we could have a 2-hour show here all about music. Again, won't even have scratched the surface here, but we're running low on time here. I have one more to ask you here. What are some things that you want to do here now that you're graduated from St. Anselm? What are some things you want to do in the field of communications? You did mention music journalism. What are some other things that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I would love to keep writing. Something I noticed on the station's website when I was doing some research, and the About Us section, it talked about the power of voice.
Yes.
And I think that is a really great central point to why I was interested in journalism, why I'm interested in radio. It's like when you find your voice, it's so important to be able to use it and give people access to it, whether it's in writing, whether they can listen to it, whether they can watch you. So I think I have found my voice in my many years of studies in college and my experiences in writing, and I would love to continue to use it. And that's my ultimate goal with my degree and my experiences.
All right. Well, 10:59. I want to thank you, Caroline, for coming in today. This great interview. Learned a lot about your experiences there with their St. Anselm and communications as well. I am a communications major at Massasoit, currently on hiatus from Massasoit, but hopefully getting back into Massasoit pretty soon here. They have a pretty good communications program as well. Radio, television. They do a very good job there at Massasoit. So love to have you on again at some point to do another interview. I think we've just pretty much scratched the surface probably as well. Maybe we'll have you on again maybe for a Sunday.
Great.
Because my co-host probably would love to ask you some questions as well. So set that up sometime for the summer.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Caroline, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That was Caroline Moran. It is 10:59 a.m. We're going to go to our town hall news here. And from there, Louis Laurel will be joining us with Voices of Our Region very, very shortly. So stay tuned for that. And bye-bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your Friday. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Yeah, we'll be in contact again for another interview. I love doing it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so I'll email you and we'll set something up. I gotta talk to my co-host and we'll set something up again. But I'll email you.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Hey, guess what?
On the brink of another U.S. attack on Iran.
Okay.
It was my pleasure. Was that fun?
It was so much fun.
She's out there looking for you, Joey.
Thank God he was there.
You gotta go through me.
I was gonna come out.
What's your first name again? So you're a communications major?
Yes, I am.
Mr. David Seamus. This gentleman.
Morgan in Washington.
A confident Donald Trump said the strength of a move.
I wouldn't get ready for a more website. I'm gonna stop.
He said his voice